Listen to this episode if you've ever asked yourself, would I grow faster if I was actually full-time in my business? Hello, welcome to the Small Business Growth Podcast. I'm your host, Madison Page, and this is a question I get asked as a business growth specialist really often. And I know a lot of people have the goal of being a full-time business owner, and sometimes it feels like if I just had the time and the effort and the capacity that I spend elsewhere to spend on my business, maybe I would actually just be more successful. So we're going to dive in to that today. If you're new here, my name is Madison Page. I am the host of the Small Business Growth Podcast, and I have been a business growth specialist for 8+ years. I help small businesses stand out and sell out on social media by building a ride or die community around their brand. This episode is a Friday coaching sessions episode. This question was submitted by Jaden. She said, would I be more successful if I was full-time in my business? Her context is, I feel like there is not enough for me to keep busy full-time right now, but I am sure I could find something, but my sales are not high enough for me to risk it yet. Would I be more successful if I was full-time? Now, this really depends on a lot of things. And to me, if you're saying that your sales are not high enough for you to risk it yet, but you don't have enough things to keep busy full time, I think that there are things that we can do in order to keep you busy and to help you grow your sales, grow your business. Now, of course, I don't know what your personal factors are. I have talked a lot of people through. I get the text a lot. Hey, Maddie, I want to go full time. Is it a good time to do it? It really depends on your business, on your goals, and a lot of personal factors. Now, of course, it's your current sales, it's your current schedule, it's your current bills as you have personally that you can put food on the table. Are other people there helping bills paid? Do you have a partner? Do you have a husband? Do you have somebody else that is helping you pay those bills? As well as, do you have a lot more collateral? Do you have kids? Do you have a house? Do you have cars that you need to be able to say, I can make X amount of dollars in order to provide for my family? I need to do this. Is this something that I can do? And how does your brain work? So a lot of my clients have full-time jobs, or they're a mom, or both. They have 9-to-5s, they're a mom, they have multiple kids, as well as they have a business. I salute you people out there, all right? That is so much on your plate. And so understanding that if you are putting 40 hours a week at somebody else's job to make X amount of dollars, that you can only spend 1 hour a night or 3 hours a week on your business, whatever that might be, your business can only grow, especially in the beginning, with how much time you can put into it. Now, yes, we can be incredibly efficient and incredibly effective if you have proper strategy and you know what you're doing in those times, but that's going to be a hustle. That is going to be incredibly high effort, kind of draining for you to really be working from the moment you wake up till the moment you go to bed. Because if you have a 9-to-5, you have to take care of the kids, and then you're trying to build something on your own, you know that at that point, your brain is not firing on all cylinders when you've already worked a full day, or you're trying to fit it in at 6 a.m. before you have to go to work. And so, of course, this depends on personal factors. It depends on how much money are you making right now? How much money do you have in savings to give you a little bit of a buffer? Do you have somebody else that is also helping you pay the bills and that can cover some of that in that growth period? But at the end of the day, I could fill my time endlessly with business things. There is never a time in business that you really are like, nope, my list is complete. Like, there's nothing I can do right now. So I have nothing else to fill my time. Even if I had 0 sales coming in, my life and my business would be busier than my sales kind of flowing naturally, because I would be grinding and trying to grow my business in any direction in order to actually make those things happen. So it really, business gets easier sometimes the busier that it gets, because you're able to hire, you're able to put other things in there. So I guess, to not go on too much of a tangent here, to answer your question, Jaden, is I feel like there's not enough to keep me busy full time right now, but I'm sure I could find something, but my sales are not high enough for me to risk it. This seems like we need to fill your time with some other things. We need to come up with some other things that you can be doing to grow. Like sometimes posting consistently on social media, if you're posting once a day and you feel like you could fill your time with other things, like if you were full time, I could fill your day all day long. Like I have a constant list of 1,000+ things that I need to do, and I'm just grabbing one thing at a time from that list. There are so many things that you can do. Now, to say, would I be more successful if I could work on my business full time? You would have 40+ hours or whatever, however many hours you're spending elsewhere to spend on your business. Think right now, if you do have a full-time or a part-time job, however many hours you're putting elsewhere to like make an income that way, what would you be able to do with that time and that extra effort and that extra just like brain power to actually put that into your business? I've had a lot of clients that worked maybe part-time, like 20 hours a week at a different job, go full-time, and their growth exponentially increased because they were able to say, okay, I am now spending that effort, that time. They could be much more productive in like just working on my business. You can grow so much quicker because you have so much more time to execute things. You're not trying to jam it all into 3 hours in order to get all of that done. So this is not a question that I can give you a direct answer to because it's going to be different for everybody's economic situation, everybody's schedule, everybody's life, everybody's bills, whatever that might be. But if you have the opportunity to jump, if you have the opportunity to say, you know what, my bills are covered, or I have enough in my savings, or my husband can do it, or whatever that might be, to go full time. So because I see the momentum building, then you can look at that and say, okay, I think I'm going to try to go full time, or maybe just go part time in your business to see if I can exponentially increase the growth that is actually happening. But what comes from that is you need to have a strategy. If you are seeing 0 sales and not really working on and even just like market sales, if you are seeing slow sales without being full-time, just working a couple hours a week with posting on social media consistently, I recommend having a strategy that you have seen evidence to having sales coming in easily and having a community building before going full-time. Because just adding more time to your plate without having a strategy or without having this long list of things to do or having a really strong business understanding, just spending more time on your business doesn't always mean making more sales. Before anything else, you have to understand a strategy, and I would recommend having evidence that it is working. Having evidence that you are starting to make more sales. Having evidence that you know every time you launch, people are going to buy and you can at least make X amount of dollars at that launch. When you have that happen, you know that things are actually starting to work for you. And then if you spent more time on it, if you were able to make more content, if you were able to spend more time on your business, you would be able to increase sales. The only way to do that is to already see that momentum happening in order to guarantee those things. And if you don't know what to do to keep busy full time, we want to have a list of things that you can constantly be developing. Again, we're always talking about working on versus working in your business. You need to add things to work on your business. Collaborations, maybe increasing more content, maybe adding another platform, maybe implementing email marketing, maybe trying Pinterest, maybe developing your website more. There's a lot of things that you can do to work on your business. My working on my business list is infinite. My working in my business list is finite. Like there's only a few things I have to do. Have my clients. I have to do these certain things, and I know that these are the things that I have to do to work in my business to make my business function. But to grow my business, there are endless things that you need to do. So to go full time, you have to be able to look at your business and say, okay, how am I going to spend this time to actually grow my business? And I think one last thing that I do want to really touch on is everybody's brain works a little differently. I've had clients say that when they went full time in their business, it was actually harder for them because they had their entire day, all day, to try to figure out what to do, that they then felt that they were actually less productive, because when they had a full schedule, they had 3 hours to jam it all in, and those 3 hours were incredibly productive for them. When they had too much time, it was like, okay, what do I do? Or they spent all their time in their home and their brain needed more stimulation than that. So it's not one size fits all. You need a strategy, and you need evidence that your strategy is working and that you can guarantee sales before I would recommend going full-time in your business. That is a non-negotiable for me. That's normally what I tell my people. If you know that you can launch something and make sales, or you can go live on TikTok and make sales, or you can do these things and make sales, going full-time is always going to be a jump. Quitting a full-time job to work for yourself is always going to be a risk to it, but does it feel supportive, or does it feel endlessly scary that you aren't going to be able to eat in 6 weeks? Then it's probably not time quite yet. And understanding that there's always part-time jobs that you can get. I have clients that quit their full-time job and got a job just being a barista on Saturday and Sundays, and giving themselves the full week to work on their business and be able to do what they want, so they can still get outside interaction with other people, because that is tough, working for yourself, working from home. It's hard to meet people. It's hard if you're an extrovert to be home by yourself all the time, as well as you can still bring in some money that it takes a little bit of pressure off your business. And so it really depends on you. Would you be more successful? Depends on if you have a strategy, depends on if you have a community, and if you know that you could guarantee sales at that point, if you could, and if you know how to actually grow your business. If those things are a yes, then I would say yes. You would be more successful if you could put more time into your business. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to know how to grow your business, know what to do in those times in order to make it where you are growing with more input into your business. If you are just winging it on social media right now, you don't really have a community, you don't really have a strategy, having more time to do something that's not strategic is not necessarily going to lead to more growth. And I would highly recommend learning strategy first. I would say the top 2 things that I would have you do is the Breakthrough Content Lab is my course on how to build a community on social media and be able to market on social media. And my Product Launch Academy is how to sell on social media. If you know those 2 programs, you should be able to go full time, because they give you guaranteed sales and nurturing of a community to keep growing those 2 things together. They can work really seamlessly to give you pretty much all of the strategy you need. Maybe not everything, but a lot of the strategy you need in order to at least guarantee yourself income and grow the business to where you want it to be able to be full-time. So if you want to start somewhere, I would start with those 2 courses to learn the necessary strategy, start there, and then build on top of it from there. Again, this is a very personal decision. I would have to look at your bills, would have to look at your income right now, have to look at your financial ability to be able to fully answer it. But you need to be able to know that you can make sales, know that the more time you put into your business means the more money that you can make and the more growth you can have, and know what to fill your time with. By saying, I'm not sure if I have enough for me to keep busy right now, tells me that we need to add a little bit of strategy in there. We need to understand, how can we grow our business? What collaborations can you be doing? Where can you be creating more content? Where can we add more strategy to what you're doing to make it actually have sales that are high enough for you to risk this? And that is where I would start. So without knowing your entire situation, that would be my input here. Everybody else listening, I hope that that was helpful for you as well. If you have a question you would like me to answer, click the link in the show notes and submit your Friday coaching session episode, and maybe you will be featured on our next Friday episode. I hope this was helpful for you. I want everybody that wants to be a full-time business owner to be able to do that. And truly, at the end of the day, it takes just understanding strategy and knowing that your input equals output, which means more time equals more sales and more growth. Once you're at that point, going full-time makes sense, because that means the more time you put in, you're opening your calendar to be able to put more time to get more out of it. If you have any questions about this, as always, reach out to me on Instagram at thisismadisonpage. Maybe send this over to your business bestie to have the conversation with them. What do you think? Where do you think we need to go next? And I would start there, share it with a friend, have the conversation, come hang out with me on Instagram at thisismadisonpage. I would love to talk to you about this. If you want to give me more context on what your business is, who you are, and all of the things that possibly we could implement here, please feel free to do it. I love you. I'm rooting for you. I'm in your corner always. Submit your questions below for the next Friday coaching sessions episode, and I will see you there.